Delicious. There's probably people in California who like drink this in the morning before they go to, where do they go? To the movie studio? Hey guys, it's Carla. I am here again in my kitchen for another episode of That Sounds So Good. And today I am making a spicy seafood stew. If you are thinking about hosting the Feast of 7 Fishes, 3 fishes, check them off the list. If you just like the idea of a brothy, delicious, slightly spicy green seafood stew that is very different and distinct from like a tomato-based cioppino or a bouillabaisse, we're in Greentown, baby. Let's do it. First of all, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Like, don't miss out. It's gonna be so great. We do fun stuff week after week after week. Over here, I have some shrimps. I am buying them purposely with their shells on. We're just gonna kind of build up a light, flavorful, shrimpy stock using the shrimp shells, and then the shrimps themselves are gonna go in the stew. So it's just easy. I am allergic to raw crustaceans. When they're cooked, I'm totally fine. I learned this when I worked in restaurants and we had to do stuff with raw things all the time, and I would just get hives all over my hands. The way that I like to clean a shell on shrimp is with my Joyce Chens or any other small shear. And I'm going right in from the end where the head used to be, right through the center, and just following the curve of the shrimp all the way down to the tail. And then from there, you just take it out of its little jacket. And then once you have it split open, kind of retrace and just see if there's any black stuff that needs to be scraped out. So I have a paring knife, just pulling that little bit out. Okay, shrimps are done. And I'm gonna set those aside and actually keep them cold. The only thing I need to start the stock at this point is going to be the shells, some spices, an onion, and water. In my sriracha, I have a couple of teaspoons of coriander seed and a teaspoon of cumin. And I don't need to pulverize, I just want to crack the seeds open, more surface area, get the insides outside. Smells really good already. Some people really don't like cumin seed or don't have it. You could use fennel seed here instead, or you could also swap out the coriander for fennel. Olive oil. It's a tablespoon of oil. We're just letting this get hot. Now that the oil is hot, I'm adding my shrimp shells and those crushed seeds. The reason I'm making the shrimp stock from the very beginning is because once it gets going, there's going to be about half an hour of inactive time, and I will use that time to start prepping the other ingredients that go into the stew and into the green sauce that gets stirred in. And I'm always going to do that in the book. In every recipe, I'm going to cue you to start with the longest process so that you can use that downtime in between to do other things in the method rather than doing all of that dicing and chopping just to stand around waiting for your stock to be ready. Woo! Okay, popping, crackling. The shells are nice and pinkish red. I can see that the spices are toasting. I also have a quarter onion. And to this, I'm gonna add 8 cups of water. Once it's at a simmer, just turn down the heat. Let it go for half an hour. Now I'm gonna make this little green sauce that is going to finish the stew. It is obviously inspired by Mexican cuisine because it's got cilantro and garlic and jalapeno. There's coriander in the stock over there, but divergent a little bit. I've got anchovies and fennel. So this is about a cup. Yeah, if you push it down really hard, it's about a cup. A couple of garlic cloves. Book doesn't say to chop them, but these are large, so I'm gonna do that. And a whole jalapeno. You could definitely use a serrano instead. You can leave the seeds, the ribs, the whole thing in there. I mean, that's the spicy part of the spicy seafood stew. But if you want to kind of figure out what you're working with, take a little nibble. It's like literally not spicy in any way. So I'm just gonna put this whole guy in. If you want more spice, less spice, you would add more pepper, or you can take out the seeds to tamp it down. We're gonna put 4 anchovies. And this is just gonna kind of add a really big flavor punch because it's a pretty quick cooking stew and it's a pretty light little shrimp stock. So this is just packed with flavor, and the green sauce gets stirred in at the end, so it's gonna keep a lot of its vibrancy and its fresh flavor and its fresh color. That was 4, I think. The fennel bulb I'm gonna reserve for the stew. Just gonna take off the tops and reserve some of these fronds for garnish. I also need about a tablespoon of oil, salt and pepper. And 1 cup of cold water. Easy peasy. This recipe is in the day drinking and lazy lunches chapter of the book because it's just like a really lovely late afternoon, early evening, white vino, some long shadows, kind of a vibe. Delicious. There's probably people in California who like drink this in the morning. It would really get your day going. All right, so this is our beautiful spicy jalapeno garlic cilantro smoothie that is gonna finish the seafood stew. I'm gonna set it aside until the end of that cooking process. All right, so the remaining fennel bulbs from the tops that went into the green sauce, I've got remaining 3/4 of an onion that the first quarter went into my shrimp stock. And I've got my remaining 4 garlic cloves. This is gonna be part of building the base of the stew. Those are done. So is the shrimp stock. So I can strain that now. All right, this looks and smells, well, it doesn't look that delicious, but it really does smell delicious. Okay, now I have all the elements I need to start cooking the soup. Now I'm gonna start layering different vegetables into the soup pot, and everything is going to come together here. So 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, shimmering, okay. Fennel, onion, garlic. No sizzle. She didn't wait long enough. She's impatient. It's fine. It's gonna cook. If you did not have fennel, you could absolutely 100% use celery. And if you have another color onion, that's fine too. Shallot would work as well. Leeks would work. A couple big handfuls of scallions would work. So lots of options there. Now I'm gonna lower the heat to medium and give these veggies a chance to soften and sweeten and develop their flavor before taking on a little bit of color. And I'm just gonna partially cover and let these kind of sweat and sizzle and come down. Takes about 10 minutes, 10 to 12, but where these vegetables are now is great. I don't want them to like go to mush. I'm looking for soft, beginning to brown. All of those things are happening. And shrimp stock. The stock was still hot, so it's not gonna take long for this to come back to a simmer. I just wanna see a couple of bubbles before I add the potatoes. All right, potatoes are going in. You could use a red-skinned potato, a Yukon Gold, any small, firm, waxy potato is gonna be great. And then we partially cover. And that's what happens. So just maintain a gentle simmer. Keep your ears open, set a timer till they're done. All right, I'm gonna check the potatoes with my cake tester, not just for cakes. And I just wanna make sure they're really tender all the way through because in the next step, the fish only needs a couple minutes. Lovely. So this is the spicy green sauce, and I'm gonna just add that. Adding my spicy jalapeno smoothie. And it just turns this like kind of awesome lime green color. This is cod cut into like 2-inch pieces. If you didn't have or can't get or don't like cod, you could use hake in its place. You could use pollock or really any firm fleshed white fish. I wouldn't put a very oily fish like salmon or mackerel or swordfish in here. You want something just a little sweeter and milder. And then these are all the shrimps who gave us already their shrimp shells. Thank you for your service. Whoopee. The key thing at this point is to not boil. The cod and the shrimp will be more tender and delicious if they're gently cooked in this stage. And if I were to boil the soup, the cod itself might start to like flake and break into pieces, and that's just not what we're looking for. See you in like 2 minutes. Seafood stew, serving time. It's incredibly fragrant. The color is still bright. That aromatic flavor from the herbs and the uncooked garlic and the jalapeno has not been cooked out. So this just has like a super fresh vibe to it. But then you've got potatoes and veggies that give it some gravitas. Gorgeous. So I have my little fennel frond. You could add some of the cilantro that went into the green sauce too if you didn't have your fronds or forgot or don't care for it. Peg is over there just like very, very serious. That's what it looks like. You don't want this. Do you understand me? You get it now? Just adding a tiny sprinkle of salt. A little bit of lime. The potatoes are tender enough to just cut through with a spoon. Let's have a piece of cod. Delicious fishes. So this is a 3-in-1 for any time you need to have a seafood feast. It's light and bright and green and really doesn't take that much time. We all need a little sunlight in the winter. We're not gonna get it. So like this will help you bring the heat and turn up the greens and eat your seafood and have a party. Do it for me and do it for you.